Hello and welcome back to Thoriner's channel. Today I want to show you the Sabre in Hangar version 2.1. So it is not flyable yet, but you can climb into the cockpit. So this is the Sabre, and here we go into the cockpit. You notice that the cockpit is only red from the outside. It's a design choice from the team that was explained when they started to introduce the Sabre, that this is just a design choice, it should not interfere with the game. And the implementation is pretty much this, that from the inside everything looks absolutely clear, and from the outside it looks red. So kind of stealth technology or whatever you want to call it. So when we look at the Sabre itself, it's a very flat design. You see that by the engines, everything very flat. The wings seem to be extended right now, and the animation is not completed yet, so or not implemented yet, so the wings do not recede yet in the Hangar version like they do in the Super Hornet behind it. And as a size comparison, if you have this Super Hornet, here are both of them together, so they are about the same size. The Sabre is a little longer. You can't really talk about the wings here. The wings are receded in the Super Hornet, but you see that the guns are quite impressive. So the problem here is you can't really see which guns, if that is the same guns. It should be the S3 guns, which basically can also be mounted on the Super Hornet on the wingtips. The reason the wingtips are smaller right now on the Super Hornet is because in the Hangar version they are the gimbaled S2, and in the front, underneath the nose, these are actually gimbaled S1. But if you look at the turret and size comparison, these are S2 guns, at least they're supposed to be, and that seems to be also a little bit bigger, so it's really hard to tell. Might be the S3. Well, anyways, we're talking about the Sabre here. So it looks very much like a modern airplane with these big intake engines here. And what else can we say about it? Well, you see the guns, and that's pretty much it. And let's get out of it. And since the wings are extended, you can actually climb on them. Oh, let's try that again. I know you can get up there. Let's take a little bit of a step back. Now let's try the other one. Maybe that works better. There we go. Seems to be a little bit lower. And here we see that nice structure on the back. It reminds me a little bit of if you ever rode a motorcycle and you had a back protector. That's how that kind of looks like. You know, it protects your spine and it's interlinked, so you have some movement, but in case of an accident you don't break your spine. Okay, so from the height you see that the Super Hornet is slightly higher, so a little bit flatter design, and it's about in the size of the Aegis Titan in front of us. Yeah, and a size comparison over there is the starter Aurora, way smaller, and over here we have the Freelancer MIS in the old design, but more about that in another video. So let's look what we have here in comparison. So here we have the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet has one major engine there. And if we compare that, it's a little bit of a backwards design, right? If you look at the engines here, this is the intake, or one of the two main intakes. And here we have the massive output from the engines. If I look at this one, it looks almost like it would be backwards. I see here these might be exhausts from the engine, not really sure. Up here probably the main engine thrusts. And then if I look at the front, they look more like the back of the Super Hornet. The question is what the purpose behind that is. It might be that these here, these thrusters, are for atmospheric flight, and up here this is for stellar flight. I have no idea. All that we will have to find out once that thing goes in actually PU. I bet they will all be working as engines. So here we have the Titan. The Titan is also new. It came with the sale, the anniversary sale. And the Titan is the Avenger version for cargo. So you cannot get up in here anymore. How you would get into the prisoner version of the Avenger. You will have to go in here, and that is very interesting because this is supposed to be part of the new cargo system. But nobody can explain to me how I get in there after I have cargo in, because I have to go through here to actually get in this area where you have your pod, your escape pod. The escape pod also works as a safe spot. So with the Titan you can actually fly around and save your game in flight. So here we can get in there, which is all nice and dandy. But if I have cargo in there, I have no idea how that's supposed to work. Maybe flat cargo and you climb over, maybe just to one side, which would make the weight distribution lopsided. I have no idea. Maybe the concept artist didn't think of that, and they will have a front entrance again. But yeah, these are the Aegis in this case. So let's get out of the cockpit. The interesting part is that in 2.0 I reported that as a bug. I was flying the Titan, and I didn't realize that when you start the ship that the back hatch doesn't close. So I was in quantum drive and changed the camera view to the outside, and I see that my back hatch is open and I'm flying the whole time without having my back hatch closed. Alright, well, tell me what you think about it. I don't know which one to keep. I like this one, not in this configuration to be honest. What I do is I take that whole thing here off, all that green thing, and put a fixed mounted S3 gun on it. The same one, what's the repeater, whatever it is. And same thing here, I take the gimbals off and put S3s on there. This way they have just more punch when I hit. And once the PU goes live in beta, we probably can upgrade the power plant and the engine to the max, and I think that is a little bit more viable. So, what do you think? Should I keep the Sabre or should I keep the Super Hornet? Sabre, of course, we don't have any flight data yet, but it's unimaginable to be the fastest. The Super Hornet has the advantage of that I can change out modules that make him more viable. For example, I can remove the turret and I can put a cargo module in. I can put a tracker module in. There's all kinds of options that I will probably, most likely, not have with the Sabre. And that's just to run certain missions. That's more customizable, in my opinion. Now the Titan will probably be my small transport ship, and I don't know if I keep the MIS either. But my main focus is which of the two has to go. Now, if you just have to go from A to B, the Sabre is probably the safest option. I have to say I'm not a big fighter, but I definitely don't want to be dead in the water either. So that was my idea on that one. So, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this hangar view of the Sabre, and you've probably seen already some other ones. And I apologize again, I was moving, I had almost a month no internet, and still living partially out of boxes. But yeah, everything is back up and running, and I would like to have a like from you if you liked the clip. If you didn't like it, leave in a comment how I can improve it, and I see you next time in the universe.